Hey everyone, and welcome to today's lesson of how to transform active voice into passive and why should we use passive voice. But first and foremost, how can we recognize if a sentence is in active voice or passive? It's pretty simple. Look at the subject. If the subject is doing an action on the object, it is active voice. If the action is done on the subject, it is passive voice. Let's take an example and find out whether it's active or passive. Sana skips a rope. Sana is doing an action of skipping with the rope, right? So it is an active voice. But before we get into the transformation process, have you wondered why do we use passive voice? Passive voice is used to bring in variety and to upscale your writing. Like in IELTS writing, if you write more of passive, then you have the chances to score better marks. It is also handy when the doer of the action is not important. For example, the stolen statue was found at the railway station. Now, here the doer of the action is not important, but the stolen statue is important, so we need to use the passive voice. Finally, in scientific writing, passive voice helps us to remain super clear and fair. It makes sure that the focus is on scientific experiment and not on the scientist. Next important thing is how to transform active into passive. It is quite essential to remember that when we transform active into passive voice, the tense never changes. This passive remains in the same tense as the active. Let's take an example to understand the steps of changing active voice into passive voice. This is the sentence, Sana skips a rope. Let's first understand which is the subject. Sana is the subject, skips is the verb, and object is a rope. Now the object becomes the subject and the subject becomes the object, and of course the tense remains the same. So how do we know which tense is this sentence in? We have to find from the verb. The verb is skips, which is the first form of verb, right? So it is in simple present. It remains in simple present when transforming into passive. The object is a rope, so it becomes the subject, a rope. And the tense is simple present, so is. And we have to change the main verb, that is skip, into third form of verb as skipped. A rope is skipped by Sana. In passive form, the main verb is changed into the past participle and by when we change the active into passive. Let's take the same example in different tense. Sana skipped a rope. Sana is the subject, which will become the object then, and the object would become the subject. Which tense is the sentence in? From the verb we get to know the tense. It is skipped. It's second form of verb and hence it is simple past. In passive it will remain in simple past. A rope was skipped by Sana. The main verb skipped is changed into third form. The third form of skipped is again skipped. You might be asking a question, how do we know that skipped, the verb, is in second form or the third form? Skipped word with has, have, had is the third form. If it's not with has, have, had, then it's second form. Let's take the same sentence in present continuous in the active voice. She is skipping a rope. She is the subject and it becomes the object, and a rope is the object, becomes the subject. Is skipping gives an idea that it is in present continuous. So the passive remains in the same tense. A rope is being skipped by her. We will be adding being, being, with the continuous tense in passive. Is being skipped by Sana. Let's take another example. Raj has painted a picture. Now, Raj is the subject, has painted. Has is the helping verb, painted is the main verb, a picture is the object. So let's get an idea which tense is the active voice in. So has plus third form of verb gives an idea that it is in present perfect. Now it will remain in present perfect itself. So a picture has been, B-double-E-N. We'll be adding been with perfect tenses and being with the continuous tenses. A picture has been, and the third form of painted is painted itself, has been painted by Raj. Let's take the same example in different tense. Raj was painting a picture. So, which tense is this in? Was and ing. Paint and ing, that gives an idea it's past continuous. It will remain in past continuous. A picture was being painted by Raj. Very important to remember is that for present perfect continuous, past perfect continuous and future perfect continuous, there is no passive form. Another example, she had bought a bag. Now understand the tense first. So had and bought gives an idea that it is in past perfect. It remains in past perfect. A bag had been bought by her. Example of active voice sentences which are in future tense. To get an idea how to transform the sentences in future tense into passive. Sam will clear the mess. The mess will be cleared by Sam. Be is to be added when there are modals. Of course, will, can, could are modals. Take another example in future tense. Simran will have opened the bag. The bag will have been opened by Simran. Remember that when there are usages of modal verbs, then be is to be added in the passive and of course the third form of verb. Let's take an example. We must follow the rules. The rules must be followed by us. In some sentences with modal verb, have is added. So in such a case, with have, been is to be added in the passive voice. For example, they must have seen the movie. The movie must have been seen by them. The important point is that the action of the verb in active voice must be transferred to the object. Like, she kicked a dog. Her kicking, the action is transferred on the dog, right? A dog was kicked by her. Some sentences cannot be changed into passive as they have the intransitive verb. What are intransitive verbs? Let's take an example to understand. He runs fast. Now the action runs is not transferred on any object. That is why it's an intransitive verb. So for that, there is no passive form of such a sentence. Let's quickly have a quiz. She sung a song. The options are: a song is sung by her, a song was sung by her, a song has been sung by her. Let's see. Remember, the tense remains the same. So the answer is a song was sung by her. Let's have the next sentence. She is eating a cake. The options are: the cake is eaten by her, the cake is being eaten by her, or A cake has been eaten by her. You're right. A cake is being eaten by her because it is in present continuous. Next one. She has borrowed my pen. My pen is being borrowed by her. My pen has been borrowed by her, or my pen has been borrowed by her. Yes, you have got it right. My pen has been borrowed by her. We must revise our notes regularly. Yes, it's right. Our notes must be revised by us regularly. I hope you have benefited from this lesson, and please do click the like and subscribe button and do share with your friends.